Gather around, children. It's time for Dungeon Fighter Online Story Time. Bakal, the king of dragons, the dragon tyrant, the merciless and conglomeration of cruelty. He has many names. To the average player, he's just another monster to defeat, an evil to vanquish, to put down. For we are the players. We are all heroes in our own right. To kill them in the Otherverse or to defeat them in Time Gate. The location does not matter, for he is mere experience points and a stepping stone to cap and gear. But have you ever sat down and considered the ramifications of your actions? Most of us blindly follow what the NPCs tell us and skip all the quest dialogue. We just do what we're told. We don't care for the details. We need to hit cap after all. Dialogue just delays that progress. But since this game is an MMO, we are surely doing the heroic deed, right? Well, the only real way to find out is by digging deep into the lore. We need to learn about Bakal himself. Bakal, to put it bluntly, is a tormentor. He's a dictator and he preys on the weak. He knew he was a special being for the longest time, and in his own world, he eventually rose to become the Dragon King. Some days he would randomly kill his subjects. There was no actual motivation and they did nothing wrong to him. He just felt like it. Bakal often wondered when this would all end. He knew his subjects just put on a facade of obedience. They didn't really obey him. Not really. His subjects would surely jump on any opportunity presented to take him down. Maybe when he grew old and weak. He wondered if that's how his will would end, to satisfy those that would spit upon his head. It was then that she appeared. Hildur, she called herself, the second apostle. She, who looked like she would cry at any moment, came to him and requested Bakal to follow her. For reasons he could not explain, the great Dragon King Bakal decided to accept her quest. He felt his destiny lied with her, and he felt an aura similar to his own coming from her. Hildur led Bakal to the land of Pandemonium, or what was left of it anyway. It was merely a floating piece of its remnants, the rest long since destroyed in the years past. There, Bakal met the other apostles, and there he realized he too was an apostle. Each had an aura similar to his own, and now he recognized the aura for what it truly was, an apostle's aura. It was then that he met him, Cain, the first apostle. He was invincible. No matter how many times Bakal imagined himself fighting Cain, he only saw his own destruction. He could not even imagine it. There was no possibility of hope, no inkling of light. Cain's power was just too overwhelming, beyond any Bakal imagined, and it was then, for the first time in his life, that Bakal felt fear. Now you have to understand, Bakal was the king of dragons. He feared no one, not even the other apostles. But that was just how overwhelming Cain was. He was less an apostle and more of a living god. But enough of Bakal's fears. In Pandemonium, Bakal met someone he could almost call a friend. The ninth apostle, Luke. He was an interesting fellow, and he was the one that kept most of the lights on in the land of Pandemonium. Luke was tasked by Hildur to rebuild Pandemonium, and his current task was to rebuild Metro Center that used to belong to Anton. The fellow was strange, Bakal thought. He barely talked, and most considered him to be dumb, with his only talents lay in constructing and inventing. One day, when Bakal went to Luke, he thought he noticed something before the power went out. He went to Luke to reconfirm his suspicions. "Anything you wish to tell me, old man?" Bakal asked. Luke looked to be in thought and flickered with a few switches. The whirring sound of a motor was heard. Now Bakal was able to see what he had missed. A crude image formed, and Bakal saw something unimaginable. A dragon was dying in the midst of flames, crying out. "Bakal, look closely, for this is your death," Luke said to him. Bakal shivered. It couldn't have been him, but it clearly showed a dragon dying. And he was the only dragon in Pandemonium, and the only dragon Luke knew. He was the Dragon King after all. But that was not all. Around that image, there were 3 more images. Each portrayed death. One portrayed a vague-looking figure dying in a cave. Another portrayed a multi-legged being dying in collapsing stones. The last portrayed a dog-like figure being sucked up into a space rift, body torn into pieces. The death of the apostles, Bakal realized. But why? Why were they going to die? Who could possibly kill them? What in the world was going on? Surely it was only because Luke was going crazy. He isn't a prophet, but Bakal knew the truth, deep down inside. "You wanted it, and I showed you. But can you bear it?" Luke asked. Perhaps this is just a warning, not a prophecy. Then Bakal shook with realization. This was why Hilda was gathering the apostles here. She wanted to sacrifice them. But why? What would be her motivation to do such a thing? Bacall wanted more information from Luke, but he decided against it. He had to find everything out on his own. First, he had to find out all he could about Pandemonium. Bacall searched the ancient library and other places where he might find some hints. He slowly but surely compiled the legends of the forgotten past. Bacall would often go to Luke, and every time, part of the power was restored. A new picture would be drawn. Luke's pictures depicted 7 more apostles and presumed apostles dying. There were even those that Bacall never even heard of, and Hilda and Cain's death were not shown. The last image portrayed a male and a female looking over a bountiful looking world. Cain and Hilda. Bacall finally realized the truth. Yes, this is what Hilda was planning. She wanted to recreate Pandemonium, which appeared in so many legends and documents. And the ingredients were the death of the apostles and the universe. That's right, even the current universe would need to be sacrificed in order for the legend to become a reality. The ancient documents of Pandemonium talked about a neogenesis. The gist of the legend stated that the gods created Pandemonium, and so by sacrificing the gods, we can once again recreate Pandemonium. Apostles aren't the same as gods, but Hilda was desperate. She believed that by sacrificing Bacall and the others, she could recreate her homeland, and she and Cain would lead the new universe. Death was not a concern for Bacall, but something did piss him off. Cain was alive. Cain, the first apostle. Cain the invincible. Cain the absolute. Even in Hilda's plans, he did not die. For Cain to stand on the land created by Bacall's death and live forever as a god, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Bacall laughed long and hard. His crazy laughter was sharp, but his mind became more clear. If he, Bacall, succeeded in thwarting Hilda's plans, then the current universe will be spared and many lives will be saved. The dragon tyrant becomes a savior. The laughter which seemed to consume Bacall turned into a calm smile. This will be fun. Boom. What will Bacall do next? Will he be able to stop Hilda's plans? Can he save the universe? Find out next time on Dungeon Fighters Online. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun